Good morning, and good morning. How are you? Yeah, I didn't turn on the screen inside the actual video that I could, that you all could see me. So good morning. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good couple of days. Today is Wednesday already. Already. The 14th. We're halfway through the month. Next week is Thanksgiving. Um, I don't know what your plans are, but I keep thinking I have a lot to do and not enough time. Just don't have enough time. And I feel I'm being pulled in several different directions. Good morning, Maurice. How are you? Hope you had a nice couple of days and congratulations again on your birthday. Looked like you had a good time. I was looking at some pictures last night. I said, well, they still celebrating. Still celebrating. And it's so funny. This is the time of year that I know for myself, it becomes reflective. What have I done these last 10 months? What have I encountered? Who have I helped? How am I doing in terms of, even looking out for myself? And I come with pause. I look at that if again and what it means. I look at the I, the I in me, and I just address sometimes that I haven't done all that I needed to do. Good morning, Lexi. Good morning, Lexi. Hey, how are you? Good to have you in the space this morning with us. Today we're going to talk about the fact that, good morning, Joan, that we have things that we put off. Sometimes we're given something that's so special, so dynamically good, that we become fearful. We become intimidated by it. And, before you know it, someone else has come out with something similar to it. Why? Because sometimes we've shared. Sometimes you have to hold on to that idea and make it your platform as opposed to someone making it theirs. People can always improve on stuff. Always. They can always improve on different things that come their way. But if it was your idea and the seed was planted with you, use it as your seed. Use it as something that you can do something with. Hey Debbie, how are you? Morning, y'all. That's so sweet. I had my eyes dilated yesterday, so I've been having a little trouble ever since where they just acting up. I don't know. They still feel grainy or something. Good morning, Calithia. How are you doing? So today I wanted to talk about just the fact that we have ideas, but we never address them. They become storage, like I talked about last week. I try to make things relative, like over time, they will become joined together, that they make sense to you. And they certainly make sense to me because that's how they were given to me as an idea. So, I'm going to start off this morning, and I actually have two poems this morning that I like. And I know you've heard this one, which is called The Dream Deferred. And, you know, we had to memorize it as a child. We young people, we had to try to understand that we were given some things sometimes and we didn't know what to do with them. So they were put off, which is a deferral. We put things off, and we never get around to them. And they become storage in our heart and storage in our head, but never anything that we act on. So this first poem is called A Dream Deferred by Langston Hughes. It says, what happens to a dream deferred? Big question. Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? Sometimes when it explodes, what happens to it? It dissipates. It's gone. It's destroyed. It's destroyed. But if we work on what we put off, maybe we can get back to the center of getting it done, and working on it. And I think one of the issues I put in this morning is that if we look at an idea and make it really work, then we have to put action behind it. You have to put something You work on it. You work on it. I always speak to the fact that I remember being absolutely stuck. There you go. Are you stuck? Yes. I was stuck on deciding about a doctorate. And people said, but you already got a good job, your daughter's nearly grown, but I said it didn't have to do with you. It was what was given to me that I was going to do it. And sometimes we have to take our ideas, put them into action, and make it our reality. But if they're always stored in boxes or stored in our hearts, stored in our heads, they never come to fruition. So I found another poem, and it's signed by CW. I don't know who CW is, but CW is at the end of this poem. And it says an idea. And these are all thoughtful questions. It says, what does it mean? Where does it come from? Is it in your mind? Is it in your soul? Is it your purpose? Is it your ancestors speaking to you? Should you follow it? What if you don't? If you don't, how will you know? Will it be hard? Maybe. Will it be worth it? Maybe. Will it be better than not doing it? Yes. Meaning, try it. It could give you the results that you want, which was the vision that was given to you. The idea came, and sometimes I don't know how your ideas come. How do your ideas come? You wake up with the idea, you're daydreaming and you're given the idea, or you just become a planner, writing down things, and it becomes an idea. How does an idea begin for you? If you have one, a little thing you can put in the thread, do it, because ideas are important. Ideas keep the world going, forward, because, you can think about all the things that started as ideas that became all of a sudden household, requirements. Whoever thought that, a microwave, even I was looking at the History Channel and it was talking about toasters and microwaves and disc, and all of those kinds of things have been kind of upscaled now, where, you have, instead of a toaster, you may have a toaster oven, or you may go to a fryer that doesn't actually fry like we're used to, on the stove, or with an electronic, an electric cord plugged in. The changes are available if we decide that we're going to actually contribute to the process of a change. And sometimes the change could also be lucrative. As many a person, I think I talked the other day about the 3M, just coming up with a mistake. The mistake became what is we now know probably $1 billion business, just with pieces of cut paper with an adhesive on the back. Something so simple that all of a sudden people not only want, but know that they need. How can you take something that you can do and others can use to the point where it becomes, a constant request? So anyway, I'll ask you this morning, are you stuck with an idea? You have an idea you want to do? Plan it out. So I'm going to start with what is an idea. Okay. And it's according to Merriam-Webster. I always go to the sources. And it says, according to Marion, it says a thought of suggestion as a possible course of action. There's that word again. It says to plan, to design. It says sometimes my ideas come spontaneously. Okay. Mine too, Joan. Mine too. It could be a scheme, a proposal. How many of us have actually been, given an idea through a proposal that came out, and then we send back another proposal of how it can be addressed? And maybe we're fortunate enough to be the successful one selected to do the project. Even when I worked for the government, one of the things they did is that, the government told you what they needed in terms of the scope of work of a contract. But ultimately, what would happen is that, those out there that read what the scope of work was have to submit a proposal on how it could be addressed, the timeliness of it, and of course the bottom line of what they would cost. What would they charge to do such a job? But the idea was planted into them saying, I can do it. I can do it. A lot of times people get jobs and they couldn't do them. I know several people who took jobs throughout their employment life, and they found that the job was larger than what their abilities were. So sometimes we have to also stay in our lane. Excuse me, what can we do? So an idea is also, it's a proposition. It's a suggestion of what it is that you want to add to the world out there. Intention. What's the intention of it? What's the project itself? What's the objective of the project? Will it change lives? Look at us going through, a Walmart. And at one time, Walmart had 32, at the super Walmarts, where they had 32 lines that you could go through with an attendant. Now they're down to probably 4 or 5 in the big stores. The rest of them are self-checkout. Now you're paying more for what it is that you're purchasing, and you have to check your own self out and look up the item as to what it's called, and if it's something that needs to be weighted or quantity, how many. So we realize that somebody thought enough into being, a genius kind of or sort of person that just says, I'm going to change some things, and said, look, we'll design something that can scan and people can do their own checkout, which will be faster. It'll cost us a little bit, but we think it's worth the money. People did it. Image or imagination. Thank you. That's very good. Image or imagination, because that's what people do when you think about an idea. They've been given the image in their head of how it could work, and they imagine what it is that they have to do to make it work, and they always talk about a prototype, patents, prototypes, all those things are kind of folded in to the idea, especially if it's something that you want to go, big, go, national, international, because the people that think outside the box, which is what we talked about the other day, they're really looking at not just I need it, but everybody needs it. They're looking at that way as to make it so universal in its requirements and necessity that it will work. I wrote ingenuity. That's what I wrote for my I. It says the quality of being clever. I believe that when you are given an idea, you have to take sometimes a clever approach of getting it to the point where everyone can stand at attention to this thing is important. This is really good stuff. Your scientists do it. Your artists do it when they are given some music, words, lyrics, the song, all of a sudden everybody's singing that song. That's what the idea was to derive, was to get it where the action went forward, they stepped out on it, and it became something. Imagination, that's good. That's really good. Imagination. We need our imaginations. And to me, that keeps us going when we have something to think about. It's not just, who likes me, what am I doing with my life, for not just for me, but somebody else that could use it. Ignite is good, because sometimes we're given something and we can be ignited by what it is that we see and do. But when I say ingenuity, it's the quality of being clever, original, and inventive. That's what an idea is to me. It's inventive. It's something that sometimes you've just taken, where they say that you took all the glory or all the light off of anyone else looking at it the way your approach was so different and able to be done. Illusion. Well, I like that. Sometimes we do have an illusion of even what we can do, but the idea is that we're intentional in trying something. So ingenuity also talks about it being inventive, having creativity, originality, insight. How many of us need insight when we're doing stuff? Implicit. Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good word. Making sure that that it's specific. It's specific to whoever needs it. You know, um, I have innovation, resourcefulness. How many of us start out on stuff and we have to dig deep to become the specialist, the expert? We have to dig. So that's what ingenuity talks about. It also talks about someone's intuition, their perception, their inspiration, their artistry. Sometimes being creative requires us to be, just step out of how we've been walking and talking for years. All of a sudden, we've been given gold, and now we have to make it where it will shine and others can use it. It talks about being brilliant, um, being having a certain amount of sophistication and thinking outside the box. So there it is, thinking outside the box. And acumen, just understanding that what you're doing has some genuineness to it, but also there's some genius attached. Inkling, yeah, that's a good word too. Implicit, inkling, those are good words. We move on the word of idea. Um, my D is for determination. To me, in order for you to really work through something, you have to be determined. You have to put some power behind what it is that you have thought about. How do you get it? Do you do an outline? Are you writing down the steps you must take? And after the outline, do you add action behind each one of the things that you've identified as being necessary? So to me, determination is a process, according to Marion, the process of establishing something exactly by calculation or research. Meaning you've looked this stuff up and you didn't just, it didn't just drop out the air as to how you needed to proceed. You really looked at the process of what proceeding would require. Do you need money? Do you need people? What else is required in the whole process of doing something that's different? It says with determination, you're also looking at discovery, ascertainment. How are you measuring it? What does it require? How much money? How long will it be before the next, phase or the form will be shaped? Defend. I like that. And decide. Oh, those are really good. Declare. Okay, because you have to declare it that it's going to work. Delusional. I laugh at delusion because sometimes I'm given some stuff and that sound crazy. That sound like that might be a delusion or I'm delusional and thinking that I can do it. But sometimes the people say that they started out kind of wacky, but guess what? All of a sudden they're a winner. So we never know how our initiated thought can become something grown into a huge oak tree or takes us over the moon or certainly gives us a windfall. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? So determination also talks about how can it be expandable? How can you take the seed and expand it to, the tree, the huge oak tree with large branches that keeps growing and growing and the roots keep getting further and further down in the ground, planting it, making it much more resilient, much more healthy. That's us. When we get something that's really ours, we'll be able to do that. And it also talks about determination being verification. How is it verified? And the verification may actually, be dealing with, needing to go to the level of having other people invest in it, or it might be a project that requires looking at a patent, or looking at how can this be, certified, So those the kinds of things. And then, of course, the last word it says for determination that I wrote down, there were more, talks about confirmation. Confirmation means is that you have an understanding that it's been acknowledged, confirmed. It's acknowledged by you, and maybe others have also confirmed that of its existence. When I move further in the word, what did you put for your E? What would you put for an E? I'm gonna tell you mine in a second, but E is one of those. The word I use is one of those words I think really talks about our growth. How do we grow? What it is? Eager. Okay, I like eager. That means it's you're ready to go. Eager is good. Debbie, you got one for E? And so I look at, how can I take it from it just being something, a few words on paper, to it being, a huge, acknowledgement on, Facebook or in TikTok. And I'm not really into TikTok. I've tried it a couple of times. I think I do Instagram more so than TikTok. I don't TikTok. It just seemed like it's it's beyond me yet, but I'm going to try to conquer it one of these days. And you wrote engross. Okay, how engrossed we are. Eager, edit. So, because sometimes we do have to go back and edit what we started. Yes, indeed. Or change the model. I put expand, making something that is expandable, meaning it starts at that seed and then it grows into the tree. It starts as a pod and it grows into beautiful, flowered bushes or fruit trees or something that just says it blew up. Oh, educate. Oh, that's good. I love educate, because I truly believe that an idea, if you know it, then you can teach others to understand it, learn it, know it, adopt it, and use it. So that would certainly be, to educate. And end in view. Okay, I like that. The end in view. This, looking up the road, you can see where it's going, where and how when you arrive there, your initial portion is over, and maybe you look at the next phase, or you say, I'm done. I don't need to do anything else. I've never gotten there. Because even after people finish a book or a degree or whatever it is that they're doing, opening a business, there's still work behind it, because then you still have to keep, what I would call making sure that it still remains valuable, vital, visible, and vulnerable to a certain extent. Because sometimes we have to realize that even we must remain a little vulnerable to keep us encouraged to move forward. Effect is good. Examination. How do you look at it? Yeah, because sometimes you do have to examine what you started. But when I say expandable, I'm looking at how voluminous can it become, how distensible can it become, and how plentiful can it become. When we expand, we're really looking at where's it going. Even when you have, bread that you're making, that bread, especially if it's from scratch and it's yeast bread, at some point in time, what happens to it? You have to punch it down in the middle. Okay. Sometimes that's what happens with us. But some of us, we get that punch and we remain deflated, where others of us will just continue to rise. We'll rise back up. But see, once you cover that bowl back up, and we have time to go back and examine, look at where we're at, educate ourselves, become more effective, then we can look at how the punch down was assisting us with the rise up. We cover ourselves back up, like what happens with bread in a bowl. All of a sudden, we have a bigger and better product, and we can be baked in such a way that the taste is good and people see it as useful, and it's so funny. I've tried recipes that other people have tried, and it didn't taste the same. And I always would say, she left out something for me. And maybe they did, but maybe they didn't, because I think that everyone is probably given, a knack to knowing how to maybe work themselves in and out of, cooking or writing or dressing, whatever it is that they do. But it becomes personal. And so once you add your own personal twist to it, even when you follow someone else's directions, you're still going to end up with what it is that you prepared. So I look at that all the time when I'm considering what's my next project, what am I going to do, how am I going to address it. So when I move on to my last letter in today's word, which is idea, my A is for authentic. What's your A for? Authentic. Authentic means it is undisputed, the origin of, meaning genuine. You produced it. It is yours. It belongs to you. Aim. I like aim because sometimes you have to aim high. Activate. Come on now. Ambition. Oh, yeah. Y'all bringing it out now. Ambition is good. Ambition is good. But when something is authentic, it says it's undisputed origin. It is going to be original. It's going to be real. It's going to be actual, bona fide. I like that word. It's bona fide. It's verifiable, meaning it can be traced back to you. They always talk about who said this first. When sometimes people don't give credit to others who, started saying certain things or doing certain things, and it never gets back to the originator, because sometimes people don't bother to use the quotation marks of who said, or use the line as I watched or as I witnessed by, someone doing this. I want to give credit to whoever credit belongs to. Appreciation is good. Accountable. Ooh, and acceptance. All those great. Appreciate it. And sometimes we have to really look at appreciating ourselves for even, setting out, as if I don't know if you ever remember seeing this picture of a little boy, and I don't know the name of it because I know it's probably famous. I want to say it was like Hummel, famous Hummel picture, but it was of a little boy, like a statue where he was going someplace. It didn't show his destination or anything, but he was in the process of walking, and on his back, hanging up over his shoulder, was whatever he owned was tied up in a little bundle on a stick, and the stick was what he was holding. And sometimes that's us. We head out on a journey. We don't know how we're going to get there, but we got some concepts or some ideas that we need to take with us. And it may be tied on a stick, but sometimes we have to unload the stick, get it down, to put the stick down and look at what's there. Hey, Shirley, how are you? Long time counseling friend. Shirley, Joan Henderson is on here. You remember her husband? Yes. You remember Jim? She's on this thread. So y'all say hello. But an agenda would be good. What's on our agenda? What do we have that we're taking with us? How do we outline it in such a way that it becomes authentic? It becomes real, undisputed. It's ours. It's no one else's. That it's legitimate. That's my last word. It says it's valid and it's legitimate. To me, that's how we look at any gift that we're given. Anytime we're told by, a dream, be it daydream, one night dream, or we're just, kind of writing on paper, and all of a sudden an idea comes, write that idea down. Deal with that idea, because that idea may grow to be not only your present, but your future consumption, meaning you're tied up in it. You know how it's going to work, and you're leading a path for others, and you're also finding something that others can use. Listen, this is always a good time for me to be excited to see who comes into the room. And I know some people come in and go out because they do. And a lot of times the views, I look at the views later on, and I have quite a few views in the 300s, couple of probably even been at 500 and 600. And, you know, I'm humble, so I will take whatever I get. To me, it God will send if it's supposed to be that. I did receive this morning, or it might have been late last night, that I was selected again as a rising content creator on Facebook. So I'm excited about that. So I'm still in the know of trying to create stuff that people can use and come back to and put it all together between the last, few times, because I do try to join them together and make sense out of it. But I'll be back on not Friday this week because I'm doing a garage sale on Saturday, and I want to be paying 150% to that. And if you're in the local area, please stop by. I have good stuff that I feel that others can use. And I'm certainly willing to sell it to you at a reasonable price. You don't even have to worry about it. Look, I hope you have a wonderful, great day. And let's see, what'd she say? Hello, Joan. Congratulations, my friend. Thank you. But anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. Hope you're going to come back on Monday. I will be here. In fact, Monday, I will work next week. Not quite sure if I'll work Wednesday, because Wednesday is the day that everyone's cooking or traveling. And so I might just take myself some time off as well. But I want you to know that I really love you and appreciate you. And I'm going to look for you on Monday. If you don't do anything else, hit like, love, and constantly share. Share as often as you want. And that's how other people will get to see the fact that I'm attempting my best to do great work. I love you guys. Blessings. See you all on Monday. Have a good couple of days. Thanks. Bye-bye.